Is there a event or like a celebration that happened at the school that you remember in particular?
Yeah, as I say, we had a choir. We had a big choir. Look forward to that. We had May Day, which is always in May, where we wrap the maypole. And Miss Lucy Sims in that book was the one that started that at the school. So it just went all the way through. And yeah, we look forward to that. We had a kite day, like I say, in March. How told you that?
Which one was your favorite?
May Day.
May Day.
May Day.
Mm-hmm. And I would say the same thing. It was like it was kind of like a 4th of July day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got new clothes.
You got to be out of school.
Or you got
all
new
day.
clothes. And you're out of school. And it was just, you know, the whole community was here. And they always had the maypole like in the back here. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so and then again I had read Miss Lucy F. Sims' book, like what Ann was just saying, and found out that she's the one that started that.
Yeah.
From what you remember, what was Lucy like? What was Lucy Sims like to you?
Lucy Sims was a good place to go to school in my elementary experience. I had very good elementary teachers. They were very serious about students giving their best and giving their all. And I remember just learning a lot of things, but it wasn't just in the classroom that we were learning, but they did a lot of what we consider extracurricular activities with us. And I remember the musicals and the choir, and especially at holidays, we would do a lot of things around the holidays. Christmas, May Day. May Day was a big occasion. In fact, former students came from all around for May Day.
You mentioned May Day, and I do want to circle back to that. Of course, that's a celebration that seems to be very unique to the Sims School, and also a tradition that later carried on to the Harrisonburg City Public Schools at Watering Elementary. Mm-hmm. And they still celebrate May Day. I guess my question was, do you have any idea of how that started, or how your aunt, Miss Alfred Fairfax, created that as an event for the school, or maybe where that originated from?
I think they had researched a May Day, a maypole and May Day tradition, and she and some of the other teachers, maybe Miss Bates, Miss Arrington, Miss Eubanks, they worked as a committee, and they set up the program. They developed the maypole. They had parents and teachers who made costumes. Each grade level had a representative in the court for the May Queen, and then there was a May Queen that was elected, and we all voted for the May Queen. And that particular day was an all-day festivity in the back of the school. And there were games, and the court, the May court, they had a queen had a king, and they had their thrones and their crowns, and it was like a real queen and king. It was a big activity, day-long activity.
Yeah.
I remember the highlight of my day every year here would have been May Day, because it was the event of the music and wrapping the maypole and kind of
warm May, and the weather was warm.
So May Day
coming through a harsh winter.
Was a very wonderful.
And the whole school participated.
Yeah.
The whole school participated. Never any violence, dysfunction, none of that. It was amazing. School was amazing.
Was there any other things, whether it was a different class or just another activity that you enjoyed doing at Sims?
At Sims, the choir. I remember Mr. Moore was the choir director, and Miss Fairfax played. She was the pianist.
That's right. I remember hearing that.
Yes, and we did a lot of songs, a lot of music, classical music, all genres of music. We sang, and the Christmas songs that those stick out in my mind. In fact, that's one thing that I wish that our youth today could experience more of is those holiday songs that we had.
Do you have any like specific memories that you remember when you were attending here?
Well, we did a lot of activities. I think that was very important. The May Day programs, the assemblies, the music, the choir, of course, was a very big part of Sim School. And Mr. Moore was the director, and Miss Fairfax, my aunt, was the pianist. And we toured, and we did compete, in other places. I know one year we went to Waynesboro, and we competed in a choir festival type competition. And I think we came in second place. Yeah. That was a favorite thing.
Do you recall any celebrations or extracurricular activities that you enjoyed at the STEM school?
All the way through elementary, we had what they call operettas, which was plays that the teachers would practice. Each student had a talking part, and we had costumes. And I'll never will forget it. The costumes were made out of crepe paper. Crepe paper, if you can imagine that. And they were all hand sewn by a lady called Miss Goodlow. And she did all of the sewing of the crepe paper. And you would have to go to her house and be fitted. And you never put on that costume until the day of the play. And that was it. And half of the kids, the paper would tear and they would be crying, and it was a grand mess. I think this is the only place they had it was in black schools, because we actually learned how to sing, lift every voice, and sing. And we had an operetta at the end of the school year for all of the elementary grades, and they all participated in it. And that was a big thing. And that was almost equal to our May Day.
You've mentioned that you've been in plays and you've been in talent shows. What roles did you do?
Well, see, we used to do a lot of dancing and singing. But with Brenda Carey, we had King and Queen. She was the queen, I was the king. She did, I can't think of the name of that play, Miss Fairfax. She did a whole lot of plays. I really can't think of the names of all of them, because she was more or less musical inclined. She'd do a lot of musicals and things. And then, see, we's always in this singing group together. See, I was in there with me and Ralph Sampson and all. We've been in a whole lot of singing groups.
That is lovely. You were singing, you were playing sports.
Well, yeah, because, you have to get involved. The only way to do anything or learn anything is to get involved with people. And that way, people know who you are, and then you know who they are.
So, what were your favorite parts of the school? What events did you participate in? What activities?
What I want to say about that is May Day.
May Day, yes.
May Day was special. Basketball games, when we played other schools, because I was the basketball manager Hey, Logan, I was 10 years old, man.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm saying it's my playground. So when they would go around to Stanton, Winchester, Richmond, Lexington, Clifton Fords, Madison County, Orange County. My mother was working, so after school, the guys would get on the bus, and little Billo, I get on the bus. I was 10 years old. I'd be carrying the balls and the uniforms, and I did that for like probably 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
So you mentioned in January that your basketball team could only play certain schools, which is what we were talking about. Could you go into a little more depth about that?
Well, when I said certain schools, we only played certain schools. We didn't travel down to the Tidewater area,
right,
or up to the DC area. So we played most of the schools that were located here. And remember, I'm talking about doing the segregated area.
Right.
So we didn't play Harrisonburg. We didn't play TA. We wouldn't have wanted to anyway. I mean, they probably had 40 or 50 guys out there. We come out with 14 or 15. But I enjoyed wherever we went. Oh man, I love to go to another school to interact with other students. A lot of times after it wasn't just a sporting event, it was kind of a social get together. So, and therefore you got to meet other students. And then after the game, they would have what we call a social, which was a dance where we would mingle with the students, dance with them. So, but in 1960, we won state championship in our classification. So for us to be from a small community, and sometimes we would play maybe down in the Richmond area or somewhere like that. And once we started advancing, so sometimes we'd play places that, you thought you were a little less than. Like if you'd be from Harrisonburg and you go off to college and you say, oh, I'm from New York City, or I'm from Boston, or I'm from California, you think, oh man, this cat got it, he's got it going, because I'm from little Harrisonburg, but it ain't always the case. But anyway, when we won in 1960, oh man, the trophy's right out there. It's the only state championship that this school that I ever known about. Now, I can't reflect back years ago, but but when we won that thing, woo, it was like, I'll have to say, even the community was proud of you, not just black folks, but white folks. It was really a very great time. We had folks that say, well, we're going to throw you guys a reception. So they was, finally you was doing something that they wasn't punishing you for or saying you shouldn't do this. Finally they was giving you credit for doing something.